Hello guys, welcome to Grammar and Writing Lesson 16. Let's get started. Have your notebooks out, ready to take notes on your vocabulary. Um, I don't have the little notebook on the screen anymore, but you guys know where you need to take notes. You need to take notes in vocabulary and writing especially. So make sure that you're taking your notes, taking good notes. I'm very happy seeing the pictures that I'm getting, so that's great. Make sure you continue writing your headings on your notes so that I can tell very quickly what they are. But you guys are doing a great job. Okay, so we're going to start with our root focus. This is not just a prefix because this is also mostly at the end of words, so it's more of a suffix, and this word is mania. Mania. It's a Greek root. A lot of our roots, prefixes, suffixes, you probably noticed, are Greek. So here's another one. The Greek root mania. It means passion or madness. Passion or madness. So a maniac. Maniac. This is a raving, insane person. So they're full of passion, madness, but passion for craziness is the idea. Example, the reckless driver drove like a maniac. So they had a lot of passion in their driving, but it was crazy. Next we have megalomania. Megalomania. Do you remember learning mega before? Right? I think we've learned mega before. That means like big, grand. So this is a mental disorder characterized by delusions of greatness and power. A mental disorder characterized by delusions of greatness and power. So you're crazy thinking that you are this great, powerful person. For example, the patient's claim to be Julius Caesar was symptomatic of his megalomania. So he thinks he's this great, big, important person, but he's not Julius Caesar. Julius Caesar is long dead and gone. Bibliomania. Biblio. When you see that word biblio, you're probably thinking Bible, right? Well, that is kind of the idea, and that word comes from the word for book. The Bible is the book, but biblio is Latin for books. So what do you think this might be? It's an excessive desire to possess or acquire books. So in our example, bibliomania attacks some avid readers. Avid means like you really love to read and read a lot and read quickly. So bibliomania is like craziness for books. You want to buy as many books as you can. You want to get a lot of books. Not necessarily someone who is insane would have bibliomania, but it's just the idea of you want a lot of books, you have a lot of books. Bibliomania, kind of going above and beyond for your books. You have a great passion for books. All right, fill in the blank with the correct vocabulary word. Number 1, the librarian's obsession with acquiring books causes the patrons, that would be people who go to the library, people who go to the biblioteca, to suspect what? The librarian's obsession with acquiring books causes the patrons to suspect what? Next, don't forget to pause if you need to, okay? The Greek root meaning madness or passion is what? A wild-eyed blank threw rocks at the swarm of bumblebees. What kind of a person would throw rocks at bumblebees? A good idea. Adolf Hitler's quest for power could be called what? Quest is kind of like not quite an adventure, but in this sense, but in his trip for power. Right, number 1 should be bibliomania. The librarian's obsession with acquiring books causes patrons to suspect bibliomania, because that's the idea. They want a lot of books, so they're obsessed with books. The Greek root meaning madness or passion is mania. A wild-eyed maniac threw rocks at the swarm of bumblebees. Crazy person. Adolf Hitler's quest for power could be called megalomania. So that's thinking you're some great, big, important person and you're crazy about that. Okay, so for homework, you need to study for a vocab quiz over words from weeks 3 through 4 on Wednesday. So this Wednesday, that's going to be the normal pattern is every other Wednesday, you're going to have a vocabulary quiz from the last 2 weeks. So don't forget, when you take your vocabulary quiz, you have to actually pause the video as soon as you're done and send me your quiz. I had a grand majority of you who did that. There were some of you who had technical difficulties. You told me about that so that I would know why the times didn't match, which was fine. I had one person who did not communicate with me anything, and they sent me their quiz with all of their other homework. Okay, the person who did that, you lost points because you didn't follow directions. My directions were to pause your video and send it to me as soon as you finished. You did not have any kind of an issue. You just sent it to me with your homework, and that's not what I told you to do. So remember, you can't pick and choose which directions you want to obey. You have to do as I told you to do. So you did lose points on your vocabulary quiz, which actually pushed you below a passing grade. So make sure that you are following directions so that you get as many points as you can. All right, we're talking about writing today. You just have a writing lesson. Types of introductions to your writing. This is very important, okay? Because your introduction to your writing, it serves two purposes. It gives your audience a clear idea of what your piece of writing is about. So your introduction is very, very important. It's going to inform the person who's reading what you have written, what you are talking about. Why are they going to want to read if they have no idea what they're about to read? And it hooks the audience. This is the biggest, most important part of the introduction, to hook your audience to make them want to read more. So once they know what the piece is about, they need to be interested in continuing to read your writing. If they read it and they know what it's about, but it's boring, they're not going to keep reading it. So you want to hook your audience. You want to get them to really want to read more. So that's why introductions are so important. You want your reader to keep reading your writing. When you turn in something for school, I'm your reader, and I have to keep reading your writing. But when you write to me, you're going to want me to keep reading, okay? You want me to want to keep reading. Does that make sense? Okay? If I'm bored reading your writing, can you imagine you're going to get a good grade in the creativity portion? No, not so much. Okay? You'll get a good grade if you do nice grammar and all that stuff. That's fine. But you want it to be interesting, and you want me to be interested in what you write. Then once you're not in school anymore and you're writing something, you're going to want people to read it if you write it, right? Otherwise you wouldn't write it. So make it interesting so people would want to read it. So here are some good ways to capture attention. So some 5 different types of introductions. Number 1, begin with a startling or interesting fact. So something that's really interesting or maybe surprising to your audience is a good way to start. So it kind of catches their attention. Number 2, you could use vivid, detailed description to capture the audience's imagination. So use good descriptive words that describe something very interesting, describe it clearly, so that people are in tune, they have a good idea of what you're talking about, and they're already wrapped up in what you're writing. Number 3, ask a question. If you ask a question, people are going to naturally, they want to answer or they want to find out the answer. So that's going to hook your audience so that either they create an answer in their mind or they start looking for the answer in the rest of your writing. Number 4, you could tell an interesting anecdote. An anecdote is like a little story or an incident. If you tell a story, people naturally, they want to continue reading the story. They want to know the end. So tell a little interesting anecdote or incident. And number 5, repeat an interesting quotation. So that's something new, something a little bit different. If you quote someone, people are going to want to find out, okay, well, what does this quote mean? Or what does it have to do with the rest of your writing? What are you talking about? What's your point with this quote? So just repeat an interesting quotation and people will be kind of more drawn into it. So those are 5 good ways of starting your writing. An interesting fact, startling or interesting fact, vivid, detailed description, questions, interesting anecdotes, or interesting quotations. Based on those 5 introductions, that's what your exercise paper is about. You need to number each of the following introductory paragraphs with a 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 from the earlier list to identify the method used to attract the reader's attention. So basically, what kind of introduction was used? And it's one of those 5 that you just learned. So you need to write 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 in the blank. Now you should have your paper with you, out and ready to go. We're going to do the first 2 together. So number 1 says, can you name the 7 wonders of the world? They include pyramids, gardens, temples, walls, statues, a tomb, and a lighthouse. These wonders of human construction were admired by the citizens of the past. Today, people continue to marvel at how each of these 7 wonders could have been built. Okay, so we're talking about the 7 wonders of the world. How did they start their introductory paragraph? Which method did they use? Method 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? And you have on your paper in front of you which one goes with each of those numbers. Which one was it? Write that in the blank. Okay, if you don't have it written down, pause your video to write it down before I reveal the answer. All right, it was 3. Ask a question. Can you name the 7 wonders of the world? So that was the question being asked. So that, oops, I lost my train of thought. Sorry, I got distracted. So the question was asked, can you name the 7 wonders of the world, to kind of draw the reader in? What are the 7 wonders of the world? And then it kind of answers that question. They include pyramids, gardens. It doesn't tell you exactly what they are, but it does answer the question in a way. And your paper probably will talk more about what each one of those are more specifically. All right, let's do number 2. I am not a Virginian, but an American. Patrick Henry declared in a speech more than 200 years ago, showing his love of his country. Henry's words probably earned him applause from those who heard him speak, because they too were proud to be Americans. Okay, so what did they use in this one to capture attention? Was it method 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? Okay, do you have your answer? If not, pause your video. I'm going to reveal it now. It was 5, an interesting quotation. I am not a Virginian, but an American. So that kind of draws you in. Okay, who said this? Why did they say it? What does it talk about? All right. So now you just need to complete types of introductions, page 83. So we've done the first 2 together. You just need to do the rest. Done just like that. So it should not take you very, very long to finish up your homework for today. All right, guys. I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. And I will see you in the next lesson, or if this is your last lesson, well, I'll see you tomorrow. Okay.